Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to Oliveboard. Myself Jay Sharma, and today we have came with PIB releases that is in between November 1 to November 15. That means 15 days of PIB releases has been compiled in this particular video. So let's start our session quickly to understand the first news event, that is the overall coal production in October 2024 has touches 84.45 million tons, right? So what we'll be sharing, that we will be discussing its few details, the features, the value addition, the recent examples and the past events that are related to this particular news event. I mean, not just with this news event, that will be part of all the news event that we will be covering. Okay. So, if we look over an overview, then we could say that this is a production achievement that we have reached 84.45 million tons in October 2024. That has shown that India's coal sector has a strong growth, right? If we talk about its sector contribution by major producer, for example, Coal India Limited has 58.1 million ton, and then Singaneri Collieries Company Limited that has around 6.2 million ton, and then captive mines has 12.9 million tons, right? So its objective was to increase the self sufficiency in coal production and reduce India's dependence. If we move forward to discuss its value addition, then we could say that it has a huge economic impact, that it will reduce India's dependence on imported coal, and it will save our foreign exchange reserve. Apart from this, it will support the power generation for industries, households, or ensuring energy securities. It will, though, have environmental implications, because we want to focus on sustainable mining practices, right? So, with initiatives like reclamation and afforestation, we are moving towards it. But if we move to understand the examples and the past relevance, we could say that this increased coal output has addressed the energy demand during peak monsoon months. Okay, that is one of the example. Apart from this, the collaboration with renewable energy, CIL has invested in solar power projects. There is also past relevance to this news event, that is in financial year 2022-23, India recorded the highest ever coal production of 893.08 million tons. So this has boosted India's vision to achieve a dollar 5 trillion economy. Okay. The next news event will be Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare releases operational guidelines for the Namo Drone Didi. Right. So let's understand the overview of this news event. That this is a particular scheme that has been launched in the name of Namo Drone Didi initiative, that has introduced the use of drones for agriculture operations, majorly focusing to increase its efficiency and precision in farming. It has key features like, for example, there will be a use of drone deployment for sparing pesticides. So that means pesticides will be sprayed with the use of drones. In fact, fertilizers and monitoring crops. There will be a training component where women-led cooperatives will be trained as drone didis. Hence, the name has been saying that Narendra Modi has said that we will be training women who can pilot the drones, and they will be known as drone didis, right? So the target states will be 10 states, for example, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, and Punjab, right? So these were the overview. If you understand further, it's a value addition or the economic impact, we could say that it will reduce wastage of inputs like water and fertilizer. It will improve the yield quality. It will empower the women participation in tech driven farming practices. It will further enhance the rural employment opportunities, and it has been aligned with various kind of policies like Digital India, Atmanirbhar Bharat visions, etc. Then if we talk about its examples and past relevance, then we could say that farmers are using drones for crop has reduced the cost by almost 25%. So that means if a farmer is using drones, so it will reduce their crops by, it will reduce their cost by almost, let's say, 25%. Then the precision farming in Punjab has led to 15% increase in the yield. So that means the cost is decreasing and the yield is increasing. The past relevance, we could say that there are several initiatives like PM Kisan and Digital Agriculture Mission. It builds on the success of the schemes like Submission on Agriculture Mechanization. The next news event is with respect to the Coal India that has steps into the 50th year of its celebration. So based upon this, this is a particular news event where PIB has released and said that this is a milestone that has achieved by Coal India Limited that is celebrating its 50th year of its operation. And that means it's celebrating the 5 decades of its contribution to India's energy security. If we discuss its key highlight, then Coal India Limited was established in 1975 under the Coal Mines Nationalization Act. It accounts for almost 80% of India's coal production, and its aim to increase output to 1 billion tons by 2025-26. And so that means it's a very huge company. Okay. The economic impact is that it contributes almost 60% of India's electricity generation. It provides significant employment opportunities, particularly in the eastern part of the India, right? They have several environmental initiatives like green mining techniques that has been adopted by Coal India Limited. They have even invested in the renewable energy projects to reduce the carbon footprints. Okay, there are several examples and past relevance. We could say that Coal India Limited had supplied over 600 million tons of coal in financial year 23-24. This has ensured the uninterrupted power supply during peak demand. And there is also a solar power initiative that is 100 megawatt of solar power projects that is commissioned in Chhattisgarh. And if you talk about the past relevance, they could say that it is played a very important role in stabilizing India's economy, majorly during the coal shortages in 1990. So that was the role that has been played by Coal India Limited. It has also been investing in maintaining the transition towards cleaner energy mix. Okay, like this. The next news event we would say is with respect to the NMDC achieves historic October performance. Right. So now, what exactly is this news about? Then we could say that NMDC is India's largest iron ore producer. So an iron ore producer has been reported its highest ever production and sales for the October. Okay. So what is the performance highlight? That almost 4.2 million tons of iron ore has been produced and 4.3 million tons of iron ores is reflecting strong domestic and international demand. So that means, so what does it reflecting? That we are producing 4.2 million tons of iron ore this particular year, and 4.3 million tons has been sold. So this is reflecting that we have a very strong domestic as well as the international demand for the iron ore. Right, its economic impact could be that it boosts India's steel sector, right, which is heavily depend upon the domestic iron ore supply. Also, it contributes the infrastructure development by ensuring raw materials availability, and its initiatives including sustainable mining practices and community development programs are also being helpful. Next is with respect to the examples and past relevance. We could say that a record breaking October production, what does it actually support? That India's steel capacity has also been increased under the National Steel Policy 2017, and there are several projects like Bharat Mala and Sagar Mala initiative that actually supply these flagship projects. The past relevance, we could say that it has consistently supported India's industrial growth since its inception 1958, and it also played a very important role in ensuring resource availability during the post pandemic recovery phase. Next news event is that India launches updated National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, that is NBSAP. Now, what exactly about this news event? Then we could say that this event is the launch of the updated National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. Occasion was Conference of Parties 16 under the Convention on Biological Diversity that was held in Colombia. Its objective is to strengthen India's commitment in preserving the biodiversity, and it has aligned with the post 2020 global biodiversity framework, which is part of this convention. Okay. Now, if we further understand the features, then we could say there has been a national target to achieve 30x30, that means 30% of land and marine areas used conservation by under conservation by 2030, right? That means 30% of area of land and marine areas will be under the conservation by 2030, and this will protect the endangered species, and they will also restore the degraded ecosystem. However, they have a focus area on sustainable management of the biological resources. They also wants to promote the community driven conservation. They are emphasizing the role of indigenous and local knowledge in biodiversity preservation. The value addition, we could say that the global impact that India has aligned with the international biodiversity goal, I mean this particular plan, and the economic benefit, we could say that it will preserve the biodiversity that will support sectors like agriculture, fisheries, and ecotourism, and it will have an environmental significance that it will decrease the impact of climate change, and it will support ecological balances. The example, we could say that Project Tiger, Project Elephant, these are the flagship species conservation initiative under this initiative. And they have also been, we have seen the use of biodiversity registers in panchayats for documenting local flora and fauna. Then apart from this, the past relevance, we could say that India's commitment under Convention of Biodiversity in 1992 and the original NBSAP launched in 2002. Okay. Next news event is with respect to the FCI, that is Food Corporation of India, and state agencies has procured 85.41 lakh metric ton of paddy in Punjab, that is during the Kharif marketing season. Okay. So detail about this will be a procurement of 85.41 lakh metric tons of paddy has been procured by Food Corporation of India and other state agencies in Punjab during the Kharif marketing season. And the objective is to support farmers by ensuring the minimum support price and enhancing food grain availability. If you understand the further details of this news event, we could say this procurement drive is majorly a contribution from the Punjab, who was the key food grain producer state of during the Kharif season. And there is also a direct benefit transfer that is ensuring the timely payment to the farmers. Now this payment will be based upon the minimum support price. Okay. And the payment of MSP of almost rupees 2,183 per quintal for grade A paddy, and the food security, that means it is strengthening India's public distribution system for food security. That means that is the role of Food Corporation of India, that it procures from the farmers. After procuring, it will give to the below poverty line under the public distribution system program, right? Then the economic impact, that it ensures a fair prices for farmers and reduce the dependence on imports. If a social impact, we could say it protects the livelihood of small and marginal farmers. The policy significance, we could say it reflects the success of procurement reforms under PM Kisan and Agriculture Market Infrastructure Fund. The examples, we could say that direct payment made to over 2.5 lakh farmers in Punjab during the season. The surplus stock support international exports of food grains. And the past relevance, we could say India's procurement system has been instrumental in achieving the self-sufficiency in food production since the Green Revolution. Right? So that means we have a very good procurement system. Right? So that is the past relevance. The next news event is Maharatna PSU's NTPC and ONGC join hands to form a joint venture company. Now, what exactly this joint venture company about? That there is an event where these two Maharatna PSUs has came together to form a joint venture company, and this company will boost India's clean energy capacity by developing offshore wind energy projects, and the strategic focus will be India's net zero target by 2070. This was in the COP26 that has India announced of climate change. Yes, the key features of this joint venture that they will be developing offshore wind farms in India's exclusive economic zone. It will integrate with green hydrogen production, and it will be. It has decided to establish almost 60 gigawatt of energy capacity by 2032, and it will have a huge significance, and hence it will increase the investment, and it will also create job creation in India renewable energy sector. The economic impact would be it will reduce dependence on fossil fuels, it will enhance energy security. India's position as a global hub for renewable energy will also be increased, and it will mitigate greenhouse gases emission, and it will support India's shift towards a circular economy in the energy production. The example is the recently NTPCs has floating solar power plants in Andhra Pradesh. That was a key innovation in renewable energy. Similarly, ONGC has collaborated with private firms for offshore wind projects. And the past relevance is that it is built on India's commitments under the Paris Agreement and International Solar Alliance. Right. So these are very good point from exam point of view. The next news event is that honoring the artisans under PM Vishwakarma Yojana. Okay, so what exactly is this news event about? We could say there is a particular event where the Ministry of MSME has organized a special program where they have honored the artisans and traditional workers under the PM Vishwakarma Yojana. The objective of this particular event was to enhance the skill development and provide the financial support to artisans so that they can further improve their productivity and their income. If we talk about the financial assistance, then they will be providing the interest free loans up to rupees 3 lakh for artisans. They will provide the direct benefit transfers to ensure quick disbursement of funds. If we talk about the skill training, then they will be providing access to modern tools and technology for traditional artisans. There will be a workshop on innovative designs and market linkages, and they have even decided the eligibility that it is open to all the carpenters, the porters, the blacksmiths, and other traditional artisans. Economic benefits will be it will boost MSME sector, it will contribute to the GDP growth, it will increase India's export of traditional craft, that will enhance India's soft power, and also it will promote social equity by empowering underprivileged artisans. It will also preserve India's rich cultural heritage and traditional crafts. The there was an example with respect to the artisans, that artisans from Moradabad, they were benefited from this particular scheme to expand their brassware business. Others, the porters from Khurja, they have received modern tools to meet export demands. And the past relevance is that this expands on the success of the earlier initiatives like Mudra Yojana and One District, One Product scheme. Its next news event is Department of Agriculture releases first advanced estimates for Kharif crops. Okay, Now, what exactly is this news event? That this is the release of for the first advance estimates for major kharif crop for the agricultural year 2024-25. They had an objective that they will be providing preliminary data on crop production to inform policy making and market planning. The highlights of this, that with respect to the rice, the estimated production of, they have estimated that what would be the total production will be 105.5 million tons for rice. If we talk about the pulses, they have projected around 8.6 million tons, which is quite a growth from the previous year. And if we talk about the oil seeds, that would be around 22.5 million tons. So it is also signaling that there is a strong harvest. The economic impact would be, it is supporting the export planning. It will also ensure adequate food grain availability for public distribution. It will also manage the inflation through price stability. And the relevance would be that it is aligning with the National Food Security Mission, so that we will have a sufficient food grain production. And it will be planning with the MSP announcements, so the procurement strategies will also being helpful, or they may be aligned with this. Okay. The example, we could say that this improved rice production will increase the surplus stock, will support the exports to the African and South Asian markets. It will further increase the pulses output and reduce the dependence on imports. But if we talk about the past relevance, then we could say this is built on financial 23-24 estimate, where the rice production was recorded high of 111 million tons, whereas the data has been aided through Pradhan Mantri Annadata Ann Sanrakshan Abhiyan. Okay, now these are very important. These schemes are very important from the exam point of view. Next is Prime Minister e-Drive scheme, that is electric vehicle sales has been increased recently because of this particular scheme. So we'll be understanding this scheme. We could be saying that this has been a rise in EV sales under the PM e-Drive scheme. The objective is to promote the adoption of EVs to reduce the carbon emission and the dependence on fossil fuels. So far, 5 lakh EVs were sold in 2024. That is a huge number. So this is reflecting that there has been a growth of a 50% from the previous year. Right? There has been also the expansion of charging infrastructure, where almost 2,000 new charging stations has been installed nationwide. So that is also being an achievement. Okay. The economic benefits of this would be that it is boosting the domestic EV manufacturing, and hence it will be increasing the GDP of India. Also being part supporting the Make in India. It will reduce the oil import bills. It will strengthen the balance of payments. From environment point of view, we could say it is helping India to achieve 50% non-fossil fuel energy capacity by 2030. It will also reduce air pollution in urban areas, and the social impact would be that it will create employment in EV production and maintenance sector. If we further discuss the examples and the past relevance, we could say from example point of view, the Tata Motors and the Mahindra, they had reported record EV sales under this particular scheme, and the EV penetration in cities like Delhi, Bangalore has increased by 20% of the total vehicles. The past relevance, we could say that it is built on the success of the faster adoption manufacturing hybrid EV, that is phase 2 of this particular scheme, and it has aligned with the commitments made under the Paris Agreement. The next scheme is that cabinet approves PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme. Okay. Now, what exactly is this scheme about? That the Union Cabinet has approved the PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme, and this scheme will provide financial support to the meritorious student. Now, who are meritorious students? Those students who are excellent, right? Who are very good in the examination, and who has uh, and who have been enrolled in very good institutes like IITs, IIMs, or etc. Okay, so its objective is to ensure that there is no financial constraints for those students who wants to acquire higher quality education in India, right? But those students who should be meritorious student, that means who should be excellent student, right? So key features is that they will be providing the scholarships and low interest loans for them. The eligibility is majorly economically weaker section students who demonstrate the academic merit. There would be a collaboration between banks and educational institution for this particular scheme. The economic benefits would be that it will increase access to higher education and will contribute further to a skilled workforce. It will reduce India's dependency on expensive private loans for education. It will promote the social equity by empowering underprivileged students. It will encourage the diversity and higher education institution, and it will complement the National Education Policy 2020 for inclusive education. Right? But the example would be like a student in rural area can now afford professional courses like engineering and medicines through subsidized loans. A similar initiative like a central sector interest subsidy scheme that has benefited thousands of students in the past, that was also being launched. In the past 11 that it builds on the previous schemes like Vidya Lakshmi portal and scholarship schemes under for minorities. Its support for India's vision to achieve gross enrollment ratio of 50% by 2025. Next news event is that Government of India has signed $200 million loan agreement with Asian Development Bank, that is ADB. Okay, so let's understand this event that the Government of India and the Asian Development Bank has signed $200 million loan agreement whose objective is to upgrade the water supply, the sanitation and urban mobility infrastructure in Uttarakhand. The key feature is to improve the urban services, focus on sustainability, enhancement of disaster resilience in Uttarakhand's vulnerable areas. The value addition could be the economic impact that it boosts infrastructure development that create employment opportunities. It will also reduce economic losses that has been caused by poor sanitation and water scarcity. If we talk about the social benefits, that it will improve the quality of life with access to the clean water and better mobility. It will further empower women by reducing time spent on fetching water. From environmental impact point of view, the adoption of green technologies, sustainable practices in urban planning, right? So these will be its impact. The example could be a similar Asian Development Bank supported project was there in Himachal Pradesh and Rajasthan that has transformed the urban areas in those areas. Then there is also clean water initiatives that has improved health metrics in developing regions. Apart from this, there was a past relevance that schemes like Jal Jeevan Mission and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan goals. This also build on India's commitments of achieving sustainable development goal number 6, that is clean water and sanitation. Yes. Next news is NTPC celebrates 50th Rising Day, right? 50th Rising Day. So we'll understand this that there is a particular event where NTPC Limited celebrate 50th Rising Day, and this marks the 5 decades of powering India's growth. Now, its objective is to reflect its contribution to India's energy sector and has outlined its vision for the future. If we discuss the key highlights, then we could say the current installed capacity is 72 gigawatt, including renewable energy. Its contribution, we could say, it would provide almost 25% of India's total power generation, and its future target is to achieve 130 gigawatt of capacity by 2032 with a focus on renewable energy. So that means it is quite a growing scenario. Okay, if we talk about this economic impact, then we could say that it will reduce India's dependency on imported energy resources. It will further strengthen India's power infrastructure. It will foster India's industrial growth. From environmental impact point of view, it is a shift towards renewable energy to achieve net zero emissions by 2070. It will increase investment in solar and wind energy projects. From societal point of view, it will increase or provide new employment opportunities, and it will further contribute to the rural electrification. The past relevance and the example is that NTPC's 2023 milestone that commissioned India's largest floating solar power plant, that is of with a capacity of 100 megawatt in Telangana. Then also leading the development of green hydrogen project that has been led by NTPC. The past relevance is that this is in achieving India's one nation, one grid initiative, and it will play a pivotal role in bridging India's power demand supply gap. NTPC has actually played a very important role for during gap in 1990s. Okay, next is ICAR NRC Equine achieves prestigious WO reference laboratory status. Okay, so what is this news event? Under this news event, the ICAR NRC Equine that was in Hisar has been recognized as the World Organization for Animal Health, that is WO, World Organization for Animal Health Reference Laboratory. Right? What is particular significance? That this will be first India's equine research institute to receive this global recognition, and its focus area is to specialize in equine health and disease research. It will provide international support for diagnostic services and also for the capacity building. The economic benefits would be it will strengthen India's position in global equine trade, particularly in the horse export. It will enhance India's veterinary pharmaceutical sector through advanced research. It will facilitate India's international collaboration on equine health and disease control. It will also boost India's reputation in the One Health approach that will integrate animal and human health. From agricultural linkages, we could say it will also support farmers reliant on equines for transport and agriculture, particularly in the rural areas. The recent example, we could say that institutes diagnostic kits for equine disease are now available globally. There will be a collaboration with WOW that will enhance India's participation in disease eradication program. From the past relevance, we could say it is built on ICAR's efforts to strengthen livestock research. It will complement schemes like National Livestock Mission. It will support India's role in achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 3, that is health and well-being. Next news event is the celebration of the National Education Day 2024. Right, so this particular event, the National Education Day, is celebrated on November 11. It also commemorates the birth anniversary of Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, who was India's first Minister of Education. The theme for 2024 is digital learning and inclusive growth. Its objective is to highlight the importance of education as a tool for social transformation and economic progress. Its key features that it has focus areas on promoting digital literacy under Digital India Initiative. It has also encouraged universal access to education initiatives like Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. It has also emphasized the role of education in achieving sustainable development goals, and it has aligned itself to the goals of the National Education Policy 2020, that is NEP. Okay. Yeah. The economic benefits would be that it will increase the better education, will increase the productivity, and hence it will increase the gross domestic product. It will also increase I mean, if the digital learning has been enhancing, it will reduce the gap between the urban and the rural area. That means it will bridge the gap. Then, if we talk about the social impact, it will focus on girl child education. It promotes inclusion of marginalized communities in mainstream education. From the innovation point of view, the adoption of AI based learning tool to enhance the accessibility. So these were the value addition. But if we discuss the examples and the past relevance, we could say the success of Diksha platform has created an example that is used by over 10 million students, right? It has also integrated the coding and the financial literacy in the school curriculums. And then the past relevance could be it is celebrated since 2008 to honor the Azad's contribution to education, such as the establishment of IITs and UGC. And it also reflects India's commitment to United Nations Sustainable Goal number 4, that is quality education. Next news event is that decline in out of pocket expenditure in health in India. Now, what is out of pocket expenditure is that means whenever you are visiting a particular doctor and they are asking you to go for X-ray, go for sonography, or any other scenarios, so those are out of pocket expenditure, right? So there has been a decline in health in India. So this was highlighted by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, who has reported that has been a decline in out-of-pocket expenditure for health in India, because they are saying that expenditure has been fell from 64% to 48%. That is from 2013-14 to 2023-24. Now, what they are highlighting that this has reduced the financial burden on the households and achieved the universal health coverage. Okay. Now, to understand this further, we could say that there are several government initiatives that are part of this. Among them is the Ayushman Bharat, that is Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, that provides free hospitalization for up to rupees 5 lakhs per family. There has also been expansion of health and wellness center. It has increased the coverage of essential medicines under Jan Aushadhi Yojana. There has also been growth in infrastructure that has increased the primary healthcare facilities in the rural areas. If we talk about the economic impact, then ultimately it will reduce. It has reduced the financial distress that has been caused by such kind of health expenditure. Hence, it has also boost the productivity by improving the access to preventive and curative care. Then the social impact that will benefit the low income households the most and has promote social equity. It has also improved the overall life expectancy and health metrics. It is aligned with the policy that it reflects the progress towards sustainable development goal number 3, that is good health and well-being. If we talk about its example, then we could say that over 4 crore beneficiaries were treated under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana since its launch, and this has increased the access to generic medicine, which has saved almost rupees 15,000 crore for households in this financial year. Then, if we talk about the past relevance, we could say this mark a shift from out-of-pocket expenditure to insurance-based healthcare model. So that means that if Indians are reducing their out-of-pocket expenditure, so that means they are enrolling themselves into the insurance policy. So that means there has been increase in insurance penetration in India. And this was also being supported by the National Health Policy 2017 that aimed for comprehensive health coverage. Next news event is that Defense Space Agency has conducted its first exercise Antariksha Abhyas 2024. That is Antariksha Abhyas 2024. Okay. Now, its major objective was to enhance the India's strategic readiness in space warfare. So that means they want to access and strengthen the operational capabilities of their space asset. That means how much their space assets is capable of, how much they are being prepared for any kind of space based contingencies. So key feature is that they were testing anti satellite capabilities, there was a simulation of space debris management, there was an integration of satellite communication system for defense applications. So this is how this exercise was being conducted, right? If we discuss its strategic importance, then obviously it will strengthen India's position as a major space power. It will also enhance the ability to counter threats in space, including cyber and kinetic attacks. From economic point of view, it will safeguard India's satellite-based commercial operation worth billions annually. It is aligned with policies that is part of Defense Space Strategy 2023. If we take an example, then we could say it is protecting communication satellites that is used for critical application like banking and navigation. It will monitor the adversary activities in geostationary and low Earth orbit. From the past relevance, we could say it is built on India's successful Mission Shakti 2019, where anti-satellite weapons were tested, and it will strengthen India's role in global discussion on space security. The next news event is India's renewable energy capacity hits new milestone. Now, what exactly is this milestone about? So, this is that India's energy capacity has reached 135 gigawatt, setting a new milestone in its journey towards sustainable energy. So, its objective is to accelerate the transition to a low carbon economy to achieve India's net zero target by 2070, right? So, in if we break down that how much capacity has been increased in solar, it has been increased by 75 gigawatt. In wind, it is 45 gigawatt, and biomass and small hydro, that is by 15 gigawatt. So that means we are dominating in solar. Okay, if we talk about this economic impact, then we could say it will attract the foreign investments in renewable energy sector. It will further create jobs in manufacturing, installation, and maintenance of renewable energy infrastructure. Then, from environmental point of view, it will reduce the dependence on coal, cutting greenhouse gas emission. It will improve the air quality and mitigates the climate change impact. And this has been aligned with initiatives like National Solar Mission or PM Kusum. An example is like Rajasthan's Bhadla Solar Park, the largest in the world, has contributed to 75 gigawatt of solar capacity, whereas the offshore wind projects along Tamil Nadu's coast are in advanced planning stages. The past relevance is that this particular initiative is built on India's achievement of 100 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity in 2021 and is also aligned with our commitments made under Paris Agreement and international solar alliances. The next news is inauguration of first trilateral power transaction, that is Nepal to Bangladesh via India grid. Okay, so that is the first trilateral power inauguration. So India has inaugurated this trilateral power. So this has been inaugurated by India. That has been electricity transfer from Nepal to Bangladesh through the Indian grid. So that means India has created a grid from where Nepal will be transferring electricity to Bangladesh, right? So this is a trilateral power. So this is a landmark in regional energy corporation under the South Asian grid framework. So what does is highlighting that the power exported would be 40 megawatt from Nepal's hydropower plants. India has been acting as a transmission facilitator. So this is strengthening India's ties with both the nations. So that means India has built up a relation with both Bangladesh and also with the Nepal. So they are keeping their neighboring very close. If we talk about its impact on economy, that this will impact India's position as a regional energy hub, right? It will reduce energy deficits in Bangladesh, and it will boost Nepal's hydropower sector. It will enhance India's diplomatic leverage in South Asia. It will support the vision of an integrated South Asian electricity grid. From an environmental point of view, it will promote the renewable energy source and hence reducing the carbon emissions. If we talk about its example, then we could say similarly there is a Bhutan export hydropower to India under the Chukka hydropower project. There is also example that India's role in SAARC energy framework enhance regional cooperation. And this particular framework is built on India-Nepal Power Trade Agreement 2011 that aligns with the Sustainable Development Goal, affordable and clean energy. Okay. So this is it from today's video where we have covered list of news events that has been reflected in PIB in between November 1 to November 15. So these are very important from exam point of view. Please go through it. You can find the PDF of this particular video in the description section. So see you all next time. Till then, stay safe and study well. Thank you.